Hello everybody, hello, welcome, YouTube chat and all of that. Hello. I'm kinda late, but I have excuses for that, because today, actually, I was in my room for 2 to 3 hours, because they were exterminating cockroaches, which is very funny, because I was playing cockroaches in Master Duel just the day before. Is it my fault? Did I infect our house? That is a very good question. But welcome everybody. Hope everything is okay technically wise. I don't know. Today we are playing Getting Over It for the 20th time. No, I'm joking. Only the third time. Only the third time, and we were able to get over something that we weren't able to get over last time. So we actually did some moving forward, you know, just like with our channel, you know. Anyway, let me find again. I hope I can. I'm actually without my headphones again. I will not be hearing anything. So I'll not hear the music, I'll not hear stuff. Anyway. Actually worked on a very big project lately, and I'm very tired from it, you know? But what I noticed from it was I don't speak very clear. And I should get myself a better microphone. Oh my god. Because on stream, I don't think it happens as often on stream, right? But I have constant noise when I'm using this microphone. I have constant noise coming through, and it's very annoying just to hear. And when I'm trying to make a video and I have noise, it's very unprofessional and sad. And moreover, as I said, I don't think I should try and speak more slowly in order for people to understand what the fuck I'm saying. I mean, honestly, I have a good level of English, right? I think I have. The game is opening, don't worry. The game is very slowly opening. Also, I don't know why YouTube's chart isn't working. And it's not showing. I mean, I guess no one wrote anything at the moment, but it's still not working, you know? No, it's connected. Everything is connected. It should work. It's fine. It will work at some point, at one point or another, right? But yeah, I think I should speak more clearly. See, my level of English is pretty fine, right? It's C1 was second. I was detected. I was judged to be C1, which is one of the highest levels of English, right? It's we have, like, it starts as A1, then A2, B1, B2, C1, and then C2 is the level of people who speak the language, right? Who native speakers, right? Native speakers are C2. So C1 isn't as bad at all. Also, I've lowered the graphics because I've noticed, I don't know if it was with the way I was streaming, but my first stream of Getting Over It actually had a lot of lags. That's weird, because I asked my friend Danny, who was there at the moment, and he told me the game wasn't actually lagging at all. I think if it's with the way I'm recording it, and it may have something to do with the VOD itself, right? Or maybe my PC was just lagging, I see. And I thought that the lag that I've seen in the video comes from the live. But yeah, I guess I should speak more slowly, because I've noticed I don't pronounce the words properly, not because I'm not good enough to. It's because I speak too fast, And as I said some streams ago, I think it's because of a bit of my background in radio. Not like I've been a lot on radio, but haven't been a lot on radio, but I've got that mentality that you always have to speak to keep people interested. But actually streamers don't do that. Like, if you go and see, most streamers don't talk a lot. They have long pauses. Like, I was watching a video yesterday. Video yesterday. Volume should be fine, I think. Let me make it a bit higher. I was watching a video yesterday of Luca Kaneshiro from Niji-Sanji, and the editor was a new one actually. I don't think I've ever seen that clipper. And the way they clipped, they didn't just cut out when he wasn't speaking about what was the topic of the video, right? Like, he was speaking of his Niji-Sanji auditions, right? And in his video, he stops a lot, right? He distracts himself, he's playing Minecraft and all of that. And instead of just cutting it, straight up cutting it from the video, he sped it up. And that made me realize that encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings. It's very weird. Obviously, it gives me this error. I assume it's my CPU not. Like, because why is encoding overloaded? The game has bad graphics, and I've turned off Opera. I turned Opera off. Why does it make this? I'm trying to figure out. Like, it shouldn't have so many problems, right? Oh yo yo, oh yo yo, oh yo yo. Capture cursor. It's weird because the game shouldn't be overloading my PC. Let's see what our task manager says. Our task manager says, let's see, processes. Getting over. Why is it open twice? Oh, it's Unity Crash Handler. Oh, no, the game itself is just one RAM. It's using 1 GB of RAM. OBS is using 300 megabytes. Why does it have problems encoding? So weird. I'll just turn off Discord, I guess. We'll see if that works. I'm trying to understand why. Because my connection shouldn't have any problems. And the game shouldn't give problems. See, it's a game. It's a game. It must be the game. Because every time I open the game, consider turning down video setting. It's literally at the minimum possible. It's literally at the minimum possible. What else am I supposed to do? It's very weird. It's very, very weird. And it's working. You have to fidget. No, what was it? Wait for it. Yeah, I should work a bit with the video recording options because I don't think it's a live thing. So I said, Danny said the live was going pretty fine last time he said. Why people open the freaking door and don't close it? They come in my room, they open the door, and they never close it. How come? How come they don't close the door? Well, yeah, I was saying, as I just did, Luca, in that clip, he distracted himself a lot, right? And there was a lot of speed ups, and like this minutes and minutes in which nothing is said, and then he gets back to what he was saying. Continues for a bit, and then stops again for a few minutes. So, I don't think I should focus that much on, Oh my god, my family is... Man. Why did you lower it at the waste option? I don't know why the video encoding is having so much trouble. Let's see if full screen has the same problems. I think it's my issue here is that I'm overthinking stuff, right? I'm expecting too much from myself. And no, I don't mean not expecting much. It's more about me wanting to do everything in the best way possible. I'm one of those people who always does stuff, always tries to be perfect in what he does, right? I'm kind of a perfectionist. So it actually gives me problems because, you know, if I'm trying to do everything perfectly, I might overexert myself. If I overexert myself, I'll talk too much, I'll not make sense and all that. Why are people all coming in? So my brother making fun of me. Which he just came in the room and I went, "Why are you in the room? I don't want you in my room." And he goes, "I don't know, I just wanted to stay here." What the fuck? Some people really have no understanding of personal space, right? I really dislike people like that. Honestly, I really dislike people like that. I mean, there are some people who don't understand physical boundaries, right? And I can see that. Honestly, I kind of am like that myself sometimes. With some people I'm very close to. Where they are hugging, they're touching a lot. And it's fair, like, I understand that. But you still should be careful about it, right? Not to overstep people's boundaries. If I don't like to be touched, please don't touch me. Like, it's not something you should do. Just first, be sure that the other person is in the right mood, all of that. But I can still understand overstepping physical boundaries, because you need physical intimacy. Some people actually need it, like they crave it, you know? They feel better by having physical intimacy with other people. Or in general, they just feel it's normal. Maybe in their family that's normal, all that. So I can partially understand it, but psychological barriers, I think you should just be aware that some people need the space. I am one of those people who really, really need the space. Oh, how am I supposed to do that? Oh gosh, I was very close to falling right there. The chat is still not open. Let me see if I can view. No. Where is it? Chat. Should be here. Let's see. Oh, sorry, Danny. I had the wrong chart. You know, so there is stream elements. Has a chart, right? And there is YouTube chart, and I had stream elements chart open, and that chart works only if you start the stream on stream elements. But since this was a programmed stream, I started it from YouTube. YouTube is not a platform made for live streams. I'm sorry, I didn't even know you were in the stream. I'm very, very sorry. But yeah, about the paper thing. Oh, well, we're doing it all over again, man. All right, sure. It is lagging a little bit. Yeah, I know, it did lag before. It said to me there is a problem in encoding, you know? It's, and I've searched about it. Basically, it's, William Shakespeare, all's well that ends well. Basically, even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun. So it's an error that happens when your CPU cannot process both. Why am I recording the stream, by the way? I'm on fucking YouTube, I don't need to record it. I'm very, very stupid. I'm very, very stupid. Let me delete the video. I was recording the whole stream because I've set it automatically to record every stream. I don't need to record this one. So now it shouldn't have any problems whatsoever because literally I'm just streaming and not even recording it. Fuck. Well, I guess I'm not... I cannot even pass the starting level now. Great. Probably so, yeah. YouTube is much more... requires much more to actually stream, since it's also recording a video, right? It's encoding and recording the video. While Twitch isn't. As far as I'm aware. I think it's much easier for a PC to stream on Twitch than it is to stream on YouTube. So if I'm streaming and also recording on my PC, then that's not a smart idea. Well, we'll be starting all over again. But yeah, it's not about... Like, I cannot put a paper. First of all, they don't know... my brother knows I'm streaming, and he does it on purpose sometimes. He just wants to make fun of me. He actually wanted to know the name of my channel too. And I'm not going to tell him. He literally doesn't understand what physical barriers are. What psychological barriers are. I'm not letting him fucking know my stream and go and tell stuff, personal stuff on stream. All of that. So yeah. And right now he has been doing it on purpose too. So we'll see, like, ta 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 ta. I was saying, I don't like when people overstep psychological barriers. I need my space, so you shouldn't really come into it in my personal life and start making it your place. It's my place. You don't have to be there, you know? So please be, if you are the one who is overstepping boundaries, please be aware that the other person may not feel well about it. Anyway, did you hear the story about today we have been exterminating cockroaches. They've noticed there are a few cockroaches in house, so they have, how is it called? They have put some liquid that kills cockroaches in all over the house, besides my room. And it's very funny because we were playing insects yesterday and we had cockroaches in the day. Was I the one to colonize my house with cockroaches? Oh my god. It's a very cursed thought. I know. It's a very cursed thought. It's a very cursed thought. Fuck. But yeah. What is he? But yeah. There's no yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's pain and suffering and... I mean, what? I see this getting over it streams as a form of ritual, right? Like, we are literally trying to get over it. Like, playing getting over it, trying to get up. And trying to overcome some hurdles. And we also talk about how the channel is going, what I'm streaming, how is it going lately in my life, both in my life and both in streaming. So it's kind of a ritual, right? I see it as a sort of ritual. This is why I've been doing so many, 3. But yeah, it's a good number, I think. 4. I think I'll keep doing it because I see it as a form of way to think about what's been going on with my channel, with my life, and if we are moving forward or moving backwards. See, I think it's been a forward movement for a while now, right? Been a forward movement for a bit, for quite a bit. Also, your chat isn't on stream either because Stream Elements didn't connect to YouTube for some reason. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. It's not finding the game anymore. Oh fuck. Yeah, now there's the chat. Why is it so small? I'll have to fix the chat next time. Actually, never streamed on YouTube with people writing in the chat, so I didn't notice the chat wasn't properly set up, you know? I was using the Twitch preset, which is very weird because I was sure I was using the right preset. But it's okay. No. Why does it start transmitting random stuff? Why in the fuck does it transmit random stuff? What's my folder with my live stuff, you know? Oh, probably it's because it's full screen right now. Ah, nice. Very good. Very good. Let's see. Okay. Now it should work. I had to. Is the live working all fine, Danny? Please tell me. Because I've changed the preset. I find it kind of weird that Stream Elements requires you to change everything when you're trying to stream on different platforms. Shouldn't it just use the same kind of presets? I guess it's a bit of a hustle because they have to. Like, Twitch doesn't have the same stuff YouTube has. It has subscribers, it has rights, so the notifications are different. So it's mostly for that. Yo, we got back! Let's go. Sometimes it lags, sometimes it don't. It don't. What the fuck am I saying? I forgot how to use English. It shouldn't lag right now. It shouldn't lag right now at all. Like, it's not telling me any issue. It's green kilobytes per second. It's okay. I think it's part fault with the optimization of the game. I mean, it's sure it's an indie game and all that. So, I doubt games like. We played The Grey Garden this week, and I'm gonna continue it next week too. It's a small indie Japanese JRPG. Frick. It's a Japanese indie game, and that's very, very easy to handle for my PC. But yeah, I guess my PC is the best. Also, did you hear the discussion I had, the thing I said at the beginning? I should talk more slowly. Because I fear my, how's this called? Yeah, no, I know. I was joking. Yeah. So, some English memes are like that, you know. Sometimes it do, sometimes it don't. It's not right, but it's funny. So, you know. Why the BA die? Why the BA die? You know. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh joke. Basically, there's some cards called Burning Abyss. By the way, they are based on L'Inferno, on Dante's Inferno. You know. And there's literally a card called Dante. Dante's the Traveler of the Burning Abyss, and they're all demons from Inferno. Like there's Farfarello, Cagnaccio, funny stuff, you know. And they have all this restriction that you have, if you have any monster that's not a Burning Abyss monster, they'll get destroyed. So many people on online simulators always asked, why the BA die? Why the BA die? Because you forgot there's another monster, my friend. You forgot there's yet another monster. My brother. My brother. My brother. I jumped the wrong way. Yo. We did it. Oh my god, we did it. Oh yeah, don't worry. In English, you... See, that is what I'm talking about. I should speak more clearly because even I cannot understand what the fuck I'm trying to say. Actually, I do the same in Italian too. It's not something that's related to the language per se. I know my pronunciation in English isn't the best, but it's also the way I pronounce words. I don't speak clearly. I don't It's about opening your mouth, right? I don't open my mouth in the proper way. Like, I don't open my mouth enough, you know? Yo, this is how you did it. Aha, this is how you did it. For entire life in Latin. I literally don't know Latin. I have a really bad Latin. I didn't... Oh no! My god! Oh no! I fell, my friends. I fell. That was me falling, you know? Literally me falling. But yeah, I should do my homework actually, but that can wait, right? That can wait, I think. As for achievements, you know, the SMT VOD, the VOD from the SMT to the VOD of me playing Shin Megami Tensei 2 actually got quite a lot of views. It had 30, like, I uploaded it and it had 1 view, right? Had 1 view. It was probably Danny, right? Had 1 view. I go to sleep, then I wake up, and suddenly the VOD has 13 views. And it stays like that for the entire day. Then I go to sleep. 20 views. Why? I don't know why. Apparently I had some niche of SMT players. What I'm afraid though is these views always happen at night. I fear they're either Japanese people, I don't think so, or American people. Which is really does make sense, but that's a problem because I cannot stream in the hours they are awake. Every time I hear someone speaking Latin, it always seems to me like they're summoning a demon. He/she, you should use they. It's a proper word for he/she. Or so it's he/she/other. They, it's the proper pronoun. They're summoning it. Yeah, because you haven't studied it. When I hear someone speaking Latin, I think they want to give me a bad grade. And what? Yo, we're advancing. Oh my god. We're actually moving forward. It's incredible. It's just like my SMT file. Frick. Macribs. Macribs was actually cancelled. They have cancelled Macribs. Pericolo di caduta. Why is it in Italian? What the fuck is it? Is it? This game is in Italian. Why is it in Italian? Did they just pick up some free assets to put in the game? Oh my god. What I was talking. Ah, yeah, as SMT. I will actually we'll have SMT Tuesday, which is Tuesday. This Tuesday, we'll have another live of SMT2. We'll continue SMT2, and I don't know if people will actually join. You know, it's thing is, as much as people actually, I mean, I can just make a nice VOD for people to enjoy. I'll just grow through VODs, you know? But it's a problem because I actually do realize that most people who stream in my European time, like in Europe, either they're from the UK, and UK people will watch UK people, you know? Why should they watch an Italian talking a bad English when they can just watch UK streamer, UK VTubers. There's actually a fair amount of UK VTubers, you know. I followed a Scottish VTuber for a bit. They were very nice, and I can see the appeal, you know. But unless you are from the if you are from the UK, you'll see UK VTubers. If you are from Spain, you'll be watching Spain VTubers. And actually, I know some Spanish VTubers. So they have their niche. And as for me, we only have the Italian niche. And Italy is actually not that big with VTubers, you know? I think it's, to be honest, I think it has to do with our knowledge of English, you know? Italy doesn't have the best English education in the world, and not the best in Europe either. Why the fuck am I? Which is why the often memes of people saying cook the pizza. Anyway. Yeah, we don't have a great English education. Even I who do fuck. See, this is Italian education. Even I having a good English, a decent English, or apparently not even a decent Italian. No, we have a decent Italian education. We have decent lower education and good higher education, but most people don't study English, and in general English, even at higher educations, isn't very well taught. So yeah, I think it has to do with that. For people to be into VTubers, they have to be first into anime, and that's not as many people as you might think. Sure, anime is very mainstream, but you have to be actually someone who actively watches and reads a lot of manga to end up watching VTubers. Moreover, you have to have a good English. You have to have curiosity for the Japanese culture, and in general, VTubing as a whole, even in countries where it's big, right? In America, VTubing is big. It's pretty big, right? This Hololive, most Hololive VTubers are from the United States, and they stream in United States hours. They talk English. They're American, right? And even there, it's not many people who actually, like, there's a lot of lurkers, there's a lot of people who know about VTubers but don't follow any VTubers, or people who just watch a few streams. But most people actually have no idea what VTubers are. You know that actually it's still very common for people to think that VTubers are old man, fat old man, right? VTuber girls are fat old men. That's a very common prejudice. I was actually watching a clip of Fallen Shadow. She's another VTuber. She has been doing as an ASMR for a while, and then she became a VTuber. And she was talking about how, don't quote me on that, but normies have this prejudice that, and they write it under every single VTuber video they find. And they say it's a fat man. And first of all, what's the point of saying that? Like, if you know that, most people would already know that, if that was true, right? Assuming you knew that, a person who apparently never watched VTubers, why shouldn't VTuber fans know it? Do you think you have some higher knowledge you got from an eldritch god or something. You don't. You're literally nobody. Even assuming you do have that higher knowledge, everybody else does too. But yeah, most people still think VTubers are either AIs, and I mean sure, they're AIs, alright. And that's just a misunderstanding, because Kizunai was the first VTuber had the character who was an AI. She was pretending to be an AI, and people were completely sure she was an AI. And in what word does an AI talk like Kizunai does? Have you ever heard a Miku song? You can clearly hear it's an AI. Like, it's not even an AI. Like, an AI is even worse, right? It's I mean, I guess you can consider it an AI because it uses syllables to construct words. They record syllables. I don't know if you know this, but for Hatsune Miku, they take one voice actress. They took one voice actress, I should say, and they made her record syllables in different tones. It's a really big work, honestly. They have to record it in every intonation, every stuff. Oh, well. We have returned at the beginning. But now we know how to reach the next level, you know? So it's fine. He basically cheated on the Turing test without knowing, without wanting to. Yeah, you know? But yeah, Kizunai had the character of an AI. She pretended to be an AI, and people, since she had AI in her name, thought she was a robot, which really says a lot about what people think AI can do right now. Yeah, it's very stupid right now. Like, legit, AI is very, very stupid. If you actually follow AI development, you'll notice how... Have you ever tried to speak seriously with Alexa? Like, unironically speak with Alexa. Just about your day. She has no idea what the fuck you're saying. And you may tell me, sure, it's not her job to know what you're saying. There are better AIs made to understand you. Sure, but AIs like... I don't know how it is called. The AI with which you can actually talk, right? Which is in development, it's in beta. No, it's not in beta, it's still in development, right? But what it actually does the AI doesn't understand what you're saying. It takes precompiled answers and uses the best one, like not precompiled answers. They scan it scans the question, searches for similar entries in her database, in its database, and then tries to find a proper answer by molding different answers statistically, right? But it's not actually understanding what you're saying. It's not self-aware, and it will probably never be if we continue to just use deep learning, right? Deep learning, as much as it's actually very cool and interesting, it's not like a proper Turing AI, right? I'm sorry, Danny, if I'm cringing you with scientific talk I don't understand enough about. But I think with AIs, I know enough about AIs to be able to speak about it in a normal way. And yeah, people have like these deep learning AIs are made to seem like a proper Turing AI, and to convince people, like the guy who writes, yeah, it's a robot speaking, it's not a real person. To convince that kind of guy they make these AIs that really do seem like robots, like self-aware artificial intelligences. What they actually are is marketable plushies. They're literally marketable plushies. And I can explain it to you. Like, what is Alexa? Alexa doesn't understand shit you are saying. It's just a more developed robodog that follows your commands. It's just a computer that has learned to emulate humans in part, but it's not self-aware by any reach of the imagination. It will never be if we continue using the same technologies we're using right now. You know, as much as scary it seems that the bots are actually learning to make pictures, or how interesting it is that robots are AIs are able to make sentences, develop functional answers. It's very interesting, but they're still programs, they're still emulating what humans do. They're not self-aware, and in no shape or form are they developed enough to seem like a human to a human. You will notice very, very fast if a person talking about this behind the screen is or isn't an AI. Right? You will notice instantly. I'm sure there are some AI VTubers out there, and I'm sure that no one takes them seriously. They're not taking like a serious VTuber. Like, VTubers will always be, it's a very human job. It's about showing your personality and individuality as a person, and it's not something a robot can do. As for the it's a man thing, that's not possible. That just isn't possible, and there's no technology on the face of the earth that can make your voice sound like a girl, like straight up sound like a girl. It will sound like falsetto. At max it will sound like really strained falsetto, and there's no way in hell someone will be convinced of you being a girl by hearing strained falsetto, unless they have never heard a girl in their life. Have to talk more clearly. If the AI is made with machine learning, it works by changing numeric values in an algorithm, but the result is different from what they want. There's no way they can become self-aware with that. Exactly. They just cannot be self-aware. That's not possible by how we structure AIs. We don't even think they can. Like, scientists don't want their AIs to become self-aware. That's not. Why would they want that? They don't want that, and they cannot. Moreover, that even if they wanted to make a self-aware AI, there's no way in hell that we know how the human brain works. There's no way in hell that we can emulate it. At max, we can emulate animals, and actually, I think it's a very interesting branch of robotics. Biorobotics is very, 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 very interesting. Like making robots for clearing debris, or neither of other purposes. But they're still like, we still haven't developed animals. How are we supposed to develop humans? Like, man. Anyway, totally calculus. I want that numeric value to decrease, so I change the other value that influences that. I don't completely understand that, but sure. What I'm trying to say is pretty clear. I mean, I think VTubers are and will never be AI. So you can be pretty sure your VTubers will not be AIs. Ho capito. Second. I should make a break screen. I should really make a break screen. Wait, did it play the song twice? Please tell me it didn't. I mean, it was very low, so you shouldn't be able to hear it. But... yeah, you can make a robot that's very efficient at what it does. And honestly, I think human form is not needed for that. You know, the most efficient robots are not the ones that emulate human anatomy. Like, say, scientific fiction. I'm sorry, I'll be eating. I'm very sorry. I'll be eating a bit. Hope it's not annoying you. Didn't seem. I put the thing. Don't worry about it. If it didn't sound like it, it's okay. Anyway, like I read this book about biorobotics, right? And the scientist who actually wrote the book, she said that human form, human anatomy, the way our body is made, is incredibly inefficient in 99.9% of the situations in which we would need a robot. If you want a robot to destroy humanity, just make a fucking octopus. You know how efficient is an octopus at killing people? You just don't do it. They usually don't do it. Octopuses don't go and kill humanity. But they could. Or cockroaches. You could emulate a cockroach. Cockroaches are incredibly resilient. How's humanity going to kill it? They could just throw a nuclear bomb at a cockroach robot, and it would not die. And since it's not biological, it wouldn't even care about poisons. What people are actually afraid of is the Blade Runner situation. I don't know if you actually seen Blade Runner. I've seen both of them and actually read the book too. Most people don't know about it, but actually Blade Runner is based on a book by Philip K. Dick, which is very funny because his last name is Dick. Sorry. Anyway, Philip K. Dick is a sci-fi writer. Was a sci-fi writer in the previous century, and he wrote Do androids dream of electric ships? What people are actually afraid of is not AI becoming killing humanity, because as I said, there's no need for AIs, there's no need for robots even to kill humanity. It's just enough to use a nuclear bomb. You can develop a nuclear bomb and humanity will probably die because of a nuclear war, you know? No, Terminator is not it. It's not it. I'm going to say it. In Blade Runner, or in Do Androids Dream of Electric Ships, which is a book which Blade Runner is based on. Deckard Cain, I think is I am confusing. No, I don't remember the name of the protagonist. But yeah, the protagonist is a cop, right? He is a cop, and his job is to find androids. And with the Turing test, something like that. Like, it's not probably a Turing test, they develop more advanced tests. Verify if the person is a person or a robot. People are not afraid of being killed. Terminator is not a scary movie, right? You're not afraid of Terminator, you know? Like, yeah, it's not gonna happen that Skynet overtakes the world. I don't think it's... at least I don't think so. Maybe in the 90s they actually thought it was incredibly scary. But that's kind of like already possible technically. it just isn't convenient for anyone. And robots, as much as first of all, they're not self-aware. Second, what would be the point of a self-aware bot, self-aware AI in killing everyone, right? If someone is killing everyone, that's gonna be a human. That's not going to be a robot. But yeah, even assuming, yeah, I don't find Terminator scary. What I think what scares people actually is the concept of AIs taking their jobs. Like straight up, people are afraid they will not have jobs anymore because of self-aware AI. Will not have lives anymore, right? Right, think of me as an office worker. Right, I'm an office worker. And as an office worker, what I'm afraid is someone's stealing my wife and someone's stealing my job. That's mostly the two biggest concerns of a standard office worker. Standard salaryman, right? They're afraid to lose their job and to lose their wife. Like standard, the most stereotypical salaryman. The reason why AI is so scary is that it's threatening, at least in his mind, it's threatening both of those things. And it, as a matter of fact, machines did actually do that in the past. I mean, not women, they haven't stealed women yet, but they did steal jobs. In the first industrial revolution, a lot of people did lose their job because there were machines who did their job, and they did it much better, much faster. They didn't need the base to be raised. They didn't need to have insurance. They had a lot of things. They didn't need a lot of things, and machines did take their jobs. And because of that, humanity is in constant fear of a machine developing further and stealing their jobs again. Because we all know that not having a job is not very funny, you know? It's not very funny. So they're very afraid of that. And they're also afraid of AI in general replacing them. Just like they did in Blade Runner. You should really watch that movie because it's very interesting. And it doesn't just talk about AI. I mean, on the surface it is, sure, but what it's talking about is much more human, you know? The fear of missing out, the fear of other people, xenophobia and all that. Actually, the original book had a really substantial part of it dedicated to a figure based on Jesus. It's literally Jesus in this book, kind of. There's also, yeah, so there's that talk too. It's a wonderful book, in a way. Very scary, very scary. Much more, like, Blade Runner together with Akira, I don't know if you actually knew that, but there were three principal inspirations for the cyberpunk genre. Cyberpunk genre is composed on three main sources. The first one is Neuromancer. The Neuromancer is a very famous book. It had the aesthetic, it had arcing head, implants and all that. But just straight up, very close to how we think of cyberpunk today. Then there was in 75 same year actually. Released both Blade Runner and Akira. Blade Runner has that neon lights, cyberpunk aesthetic, cars flying, 80s kind of style and clothes and all of that. It has a lot of, like, cyberpunk is very inspired by Blade Runner, by the original Blade Runner. What you might not know, though, is that the original book, Do Androids Dream of Electronic Ships, of Electric Ships, actually had nothing of that. It wasn't cyberpunk at all. There was no symbols of cyberpunk in no shape or form. It wasn't. There weren't any neon lights. There weren't like 80s clothes, all of that kind of stuff. The original book, you know how is the aesthetic of the original book? It's literally a fucking desert. It's nothing more. It's literally a desert. It's desolate. It's incredibly grey. There's no color in it. There's never any color. There's just trash. There's dust. There's nuclear dust. There's a lot of grey. It's very sad. It doesn't have neon lights. It doesn't have implants. All that cyberpunk stuff we think of when we talk about cyberpunk, right? It doesn't have any of that. And it's just desolating. You know what's the most futuristic thing that actually Blade Runner has besides androids? Literally animals who are robots. That's the most technological thing that the original book had. The whole plot is actually cut from the movie. It completely cut that. The plot starts with the protagonist wanting to have a ship. There's no more animals in America. Like, there's a very few real animals, and they cost very much. They're very pricey. So he wants a ship. So he goes to work, and his primary objective is just to buy a ship. An electric ship, because it's a robot, right? He wants a robot ship. And it's literally a ship, but it's a robot. It looks like a ship, it acts like a ship, but it's rechargeable. It has circuits and all that. And there are people who have horses. There are people who have cows. Why do they need them if they're robots? Actually, not much. Like, they don't actually use them for farming, you know? You cannot farm in that nuclear wasteland they live in. It's actually closer to Fallout. Fallout is much more close to the way the original book was intended to be. It's literally a desolate wasteland, and people buy ships because they feel alone. They feel alone because they cannot talk with, like, they can talk with other people, but it's very morally, how to say, there's not many human relationships at all. Like, the people are very distant from each other. Even families are not. It's very close to 1984 in that. Like, people are very distant. It's dystopic in that nature too. So yeah, they cut it completely from the movie. I think that I didn't like that. There's a lot of changes in the movie that I didn't like. Because it's actually very important. I know it sounds like very dumb in a movie about identity, human relationships, finding your true self and all that. In a movie like that, to have electric ships, right? It feels out of place. But it's actually not. Philip K. Dick knew exactly what he was writing. He knew exactly why he needed electric ships in his book. It's because the law we give to animals is probably the most true of all. And the fact that people can give love, I think he wanted to say this. Like, the primary point of the book is this: it's very difficult to distinguish androids from humans. It's very, very difficult. And even when it is, you're not very sure you did the right thing, I think. Why should you kill a robot? Why should you enslave a robot just because it's a robot? If it's self-aware, what's the difference between a robot and a human? Right? If it actually is self-aware, is there any difference between a human and a robot? Why should one be enslaved and the other not? Right? And when you put it that way, if you put it that way, there is no difference between an electric ship and a real ship. If you can give love to both, and both can give love to you, then there is no difference between an android and a human. Right? We fucked up. Nice. What do you think, Danny? Is my rant making sense? My rant making sense? I think it is. Like literally, they changed the title of the book. Did they have to? Did they actually have to? I find it very sad that they had to change the title. The title of the book is genius. It actually spoils the ending, and so I'm not going to go into it. Why the title is genius. But you should really read it. It makes a lot of sense. It actually makes a lot of sense in the movie too. Like, the same title would work in the movie too. But I mean, they did cut the sheep, so I guess they would have to cut the title too. But it still makes sense. What? Yeah, I don't know. I think the movie, it's a classical masterpiece, right? As a movie, it's very great, but as an adaptation, it's not good. I don't think it's a good adaptation. As I said, they cut much interesting stuff. Yeah, it's fair. The thing is that the movie is pretty long. I actually watched the director's cut. And, man. Actually, though, you should really watch Blade Runner 2040. The sequel, right? The sequel to the movie. The sequel to Blade Runner, to the original Blade Runner, is much closer to what the book is. Which is very weird, right? You'd expect the original adaptation of a book to be closer to the book. Yeah, that's the thing. The movie isn't like that. The movie is your classical cyberpunk, right? You know, you've seen Cyberpunk 2077, right? That's exactly that's the feeling, because of course they copied it. While the book actually has Desolated Desert, and you know what else has a Desolated Desert? Blade Runner 2040, 47, I think. Which is really, really weird, but it's actually a much better adaptation of the original themes of the book. Yeah, of course. I'm not telling you to watch it before. It doesn't make any sense. Especially because they're connected, right? They're very connected. As much as you would not think, considering it was released 40 years later, you know? But yeah, there are very different pieces of media, though. Like, there are sequels, but I think that the new Blade Runner has much more to say to a modern person than Blade Runner 1. I know it's a very debatable thing. Oh yeah, Blade Runner is very, very, very good. It's very, very good. The book. But the movie is it's good. It's a good movie. It's just not a good adaptation. And I'm actually very salty when stuff isn't well like when there are adaptations which are not faithful. And I mean, I understand that the creator, like the creator of the movie, had his own ideas, but I don't think it's fair to adapt a movie and cut stuff from it. Adapt a book and cut very important stuff from it, like changing its title, you know? I don't think that's fair. But yeah, 2047, I think, again. The second Blade Runner is a wonderful movie, and it actually tells even more. It says a lot. It says a lot, and a lot that the book didn't say, because it's from a different time period, of course, right? There are stuff the book couldn't say because it was too early. But now that we have the internet, the new Blade Runner movie is... wow. You know? Actually, Philip K. Dick wrote a lot of books. There's also another one which is called The High Tower. I actually didn't read it, so I cannot tell you much about it. But maybe it will inspire you, you know? It's called The High Tower, right? In Italian, it was translated in a completely different way. So I guess thank you, Italy. It was translated as La Svastica sul Sole. In Italian, it's The Swastika on the Sun. Which is... I mean, it does tell about the book much more than The High Tower, you know? You know? It's literally called The Swastika on the Sun. Please YouTube, don't ban me. I'm not talking about Nazis. I mean, I am talking about Nazis, but I'm not endorsing it, you know? Oh, yes, I know it. It's Uchronia, I think it's called in English. Basically, the plot is that the Nazis have won. They won the war. They overtook the world. They won, and yeah. No, it's in English. It's a swastika, so it's written S W C and K instead of C. But yeah, it's swastika in English. It's based on the German ways, the way the German write it. Plug, okay. But yeah, it's about, well, the plot is, it's very interesting because it's a very old book and it features this idea of Uchronia, which isn't very common. Even in modern books, it's not very common to see Uchronias, you know? Meaning different, like, how would the history go if the Nazis have won, you know? Or if the Roman Empire never fell, stuff like that. So yeah, I never read it, but I found it very interesting. He wrote a lot of really interesting books. And actually, I think that older sci-fi stuff has a bit more to say than a modern sci-fi. You know? I think it's a bit of a hot take, but older sci-fi was, first of all, very imaginative. It was very, very imaginative because science hadn't developed as much. So people could think of really wacky shit, you know? Wormholes, alien species that speak in Latin or something like that. Weird stuff, you know? And it was much more about the state of the world right now. While modern sci-fi, which I think is hard sci-fi. Modern sci-fi, sometimes it ends up not caring about how the world is going right now. You know, it doesn't tell you much about what is it now, it's telling you how it will be. But I think that especially in a weird moment like the one in history we are in right now, it's very important to have some coordinates to understand a word. Thing is, people don't write sci-fi anymore. Like, it's not common, it's not very like... I mean, I guess there are series, you know? Probably they fell that hole with TV series. So now there's Black Mirror. There's Mr. Robot. The series. A lot of series. And I guess that gap is filled by that. I mean, I guess Black Mirror does tell a lot about ourselves. Love, Death and Robots too. I honestly don't watch series, so I cannot tell you much about them. But I guess that hole was filled by TV series now. Anime, I guess. Even though sci-fi and anime is kind of wacky, you know? Japanese sci-fi is very wacky. It's completely different from the concept of sci-fi we have. Right? It's completely different from the concept of sci-fi we have. It's very wacky. Just to tell you something about how Japanese write sci-fi. This is a pretty famous manga. It's called Blum. It's written Blame. It's written Blame, but the right pronunciation is Blum. Because it should sound like the sound of a gun hitting metal, right? So Blum, you know? Blum, something like that. It's a manga about the very distant future. Like, it's very distant. It's so distant that people have no idea that humanity lived on Earth. They have absolutely no idea what Earth is or where did humanity live. And it's a voyage, like, we start with this protagonist, who is a very silent protagonist, right? He just goes, shoots stuff, and his prime objective is getting a certain protocol in order to access the net, you know? There is an internet, this sort of internet, but it was overtaken by androids, right? Well, there is an internet, but it was overtaken by androids, and moreover, the androids killed every single human who could access the net. So in order to get to access the net, to get some information, we actually don't really get what his point is until very much late in the series. And don't worry, I'm not spoiling you a single word of the manga, since the manga doesn't say anything. There's nothing written on it. You just have to understand all yourself. You have to understand everything yourself. Everything. There's nothing written. Especially because, first, the protagonist is mute. He doesn't talk with people. Most of the time, he's just shooting stuff out. And much stuff is actually just you having to understand it. It's like, the author, Nihei, is an architect, right? He's an architect. And his manga is full of wonderful, absurd buildings that, like, it's not set on the Earth, right? It's set in an incredible it's a giant building, right? To make you understand how big this building is, it's 8 times the sun, if I'm not wrong. It's 8 times the width of the sun. It's 8 times as big as the sun, right? It's an building that's continuously being built. It's a building that's continuously being built, and the protagonist works for what could be centuries. Like, we have no idea. He works for so much time. He has been working and does work in the series so much. And we have no idea about basically anything. You have to figure out as he goes. Like, have to figure stuff out, assume some stuff, trying to understand. That's not Western sci-fi. That's no, in no shape of the imagination this is sci-fi. Western sci-fi, you know? That's completely a different way of how sci-fi should be thought and considered. And I'm not saying it's bad. I think Blam is actually a wonderful piece of media. It's very close to Souls games. You know? It's very close to Souls game. I wouldn't be weirded out if they made a Dark Souls adaptation of this manga. Because what they don't tell you anything. You have to understand everything by how the geography is built, what happens, what's on screen, what's said between the lines. It's literally a Dark Souls game. It's literally a Dark Souls game. And it sees humanity in such a way that Western sci-fi couldn't even conceive. Like, here we're talking about a humanity that's mostly extinct, right? There's a few survivors who kind of live. They have no idea of anything that humanity has been. They have no knowledge. They just fish somewhere where there is food. And most of the things that happens in the universe is just robots building. They keep building. There's a ton of robots that keep building. The Dark Souls of manga. Yeah, that's really the Dark Souls of manga. No, but for real, it's so interesting. It's more of a concept reading. It's not actually, you're not actually reading a story. There's nothing that enthralls you about the narrative. There is no narrative mostly, but it's a concept. As a concept, it's so genial. It's a world so far from humanity, from what we know. It's actually wonderful. It's a look at what could be if humanity was mostly extinct. Like, wow. And that's not even the wackiest. You know what's the wackiest? This is actually one of my favorite manga. It's called Girls Last Tour. It talks about two girls traveling. They travel a lot. And they meet very few humans. 99% of humanity is probably extinct. Everything is destroyed. There was wars probably some time ago. There were wars. There was people. There's a city that develops vertically, and they have to get to the top. They don't really know what's at the top. They just think that at the top there will be something. I don't know what they expect to see there, but they just think that they'll find something at the top of the tower. Of the city tower. It's a giant city. Not as big as 6 times as the sun, you know? But yeah, it's a philosophical journey of these two girls. They have different approaches to the death of humanity. It's basically the death of humanity. Probably it has to do with the death of God, you know? Not in a literal sense, but probably more in a metaphorical way. And they have to deal with it. Like, they're just two girls trying to survive and dealing with the conscience that the world has ended. Like, everybody is dead. The world cannot continue anymore. And how to deal with it. Like, one girl just lives by the day. The other girl tries to conserve knowledge. She tries to remember the past. She tries to still give some meaning to the world. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful journey but it's not like anything the West has made, right? I don't think I could ever. It's much more closer to philosophical writings or philosophical dramas. You know, it's very close to Godot. We talked about Godot in the first Getting Over It stream, right? No, they can. They're literally two girls. How is it a building society, man? They literally cannot make kids. How are they supposed to rebuild society? I mean, probably they... No, I don't think they want to. Not like they could. They're literally like... Imagine you are a 12-year-old, you and your body, and the world has ended. What the fuck are you supposed to do? What the fuck are you supposed to do? Rebuilding a society with who? With whom? They don't... The people they meet... They don't care. They don't care of rebuilding society. The people... They actually meet some people and those people don't give a shit. They don't want to rebuild society. They don't give a shit. They have some stuff they're trying to follow. There's some stuff they're trying... They search for a meaning, mostly. While these girls... They just have to deal with it, right? They're too small to actually make something. And it's not like they can actually make a family. They actually have trouble surviving. Because, I mean, they cannot make food. There's no farming. There's no water even. Most of the time they cannot find water, so they cannot shower, they cannot drink. Sometimes they can. Sometimes they find it. Sometimes they can eat something. They find some military rations stored between the ruins of some tank, you know. But mostly they just have to accept that humanity has moved on. Humanity has ended. And it's the end, right? It's just the end. And how to deal with it. How to deal with death. How to deal with overcoming things. How to deal with everything, you know? How to deal with life. And to tell you in more philosophical terms, the two girls represent existentialism. And the girl who has a diary, tries to keep some books with her, tries to maintain a bit of culture, right? She tries to save a bit of human culture. She tries to remember people. And the other girl who represents absurdism, she's Camille, right? She doesn't give a fuck anymore. Nothing makes sense. And both of them kind of learn from each other during this journey. It really is wonderful. But again, it's so far from our Western view of the world. Probably has to do with Japan actually seeing the nuclear bomb, you know? They have seen people destroyed by the nuclear weapon. And they see their story being changed, you know? Japan changed so much lately. But yeah, they really cannot rebuild society. Kind of reminds me of Hell too, you know? It reminds me of two dramas. The first one is Godot. The play about absurdism. It literally represents absurdism. How nothing makes sense anymore. How we should deal with an absurd life, you know? And the other play that comes to mind to me is an existentialist play. No Exit by Camus. Not Camus, sorry, by... how is he called? The existentialist philosopher. You know, the one that's famous. Oh god, he's called, the French one. Fuck. I don't remember. It's No Exit. It's called No Exit. In Italian it's Porte Chiuse. Closed doors. Behind closed doors. It's a play about a person dying and going to hell. They're going to hell, right? They get invited into this hotel. Hell is a hotel, basically. It's just a room, and you get invited in it. Like, the protagonist gets invited in this hotel. that's it. He just hell is that. He is in this hotel room alone. It's kind of hot. It's not hot. It's humid. You know, like it's those kind of summer days where it's very annoying. It's very humid. It's so annoying, but it's not probably hot. It's just warm and humid. It's kind of disgusting, you know. And then two women enter the room, and they are there too. They have to be there. Those three people have to stay there forever, for eternity. That is hell. And they have to deal with it. They have to deal with the fact that they're going to tolerate each other for the whole eternity, you know? They'll be just standing there for all of eternity. They also can see what's happening on Earth. They see what's happening on Earth while they're gone. But at the end of the day, they just repeat the same human errors again and again and again. They repeat the mistakes indefinitely. Like at one point, a girl wants to like the guy, so she stays with the guy, but the guy treats her badly. And the other girl wants to be friends with the girl, but the girl doesn't trust. And it's every single human interaction. Every single human interaction. Repeated like in an actual play, you know? They're in a play and they're having another play. And that's humanity. That's humanity. Just repeat the same stuff over and over again. And it's kind of depressing. That's why the philosopher, whose name I don't remember at this moment, thinks that hell is the others. The others are hell is the others. Other people are hell. You alone are the only person who can stop hell, you know? I think he's right in a certain sense. Like, most of the problems we have as humans is because we interact with each other. But on the other side, it's also the beauty of humanity. Like, most of the good things happen because we interact with each other. I'm sorry for the very serious talk, but I don't know if I'm depressing you. But it's a topic that interests me a lot. Like, especially in sci-fi, and Japanese sci-fi loves it. At least the one I have read, you know? I mean, there is some more normal sci-fi. We started this whole thing by talking about Blade Runner, right? The third cyberpunk source is actually Akira. I don't know if you actually know about Akira or watched it. I mean, it's pretty famous. It's a very, very famous Japanese movie. Very, very famous Japanese movie. It's an anime, of course. And it talks about... I mean, we are in the classical cyberpunk metropolis. Like, it's very classical. And why is it classical? Because it's literally what inspired it, you know? It's literally what inspired the classical cyberpunk metropolis. Night City? That's just Neo Tokyo, not Neo Tokyo. You know Neo Tokyo 3? Neo Tokyo 3 is based on Neo Tokyo. Neo Tokyo 3 is a city in which Neon Genesis Evangelion is based. You know why is it called Neo Tokyo 3? Because it's based on Akira's Neo Tokyo. And it's a Tokyo of social disparity, drugs. I just know it by name. That's very common actually. Because it's a cult, you know. People know it as a cult series, a cult movie. I've actually both seen the anime, yeah, seen the movie and read the manga of Akira. And I think so. The movie of Akira has 6 volumes. They're very long. They're very beefy. I think it goes €20 every volume. Yeah, you'll spend €120 for 6 volumes, which is a whole lot. But alright, it's 6 volumes, and the movie takes only half of it. It adaptates only half of it. And I think that the second part is actually more interesting than the first one. What I can tell you to make you interested into it is that it had such a huge cultural importance. Like, it's so important for culture in general, not just the movie. Akira had such an immense hit. Like, motorcycles, drugs, you know, that kind of cyberpunk scenario. I probably you're not as familiar with cyberpunk as I am, but cyberpunk has that. You know, if I tell you about motorcycles, neon lights, destruction, social disparity, unprotected sex, all of that thing, you will instantly think of cyberpunk. Let's be honest. That represents cyberpunk as a whole. Like in the manga, I'll tell you one thing. In the manga, this is cut from the anime. In the manga, in the first volume of Akira, it is revealed that the protagonist, who is 16 years old, actually has a child. He made a girl, a pretty, how to say it without offending anyone. It's a pretty ugly woman. It's a very ugly woman. He had unprotected sex with her and had a child. For the rest of the series, it's never mentioned again. Everything in the world that's possible to happen happens, and nobody cares about the protagonist having a fucking child. Wow. And that's funnier, because the protagonist spends most of his time flirting with an older woman. And probably he has a child, she doesn't. That's wow, man. And he actually does get the girl at the end, I think. So yeah, funny stuff, you know. The protagonist is not Akira, by the way. Akira is the name of a character in Akira, but it's not the protagonist. It's not either of the because there's 2 protagonists, and neither of them is Akira. Which is very funny, but yeah. Is Kalen? I don't think so, and I don't think so. You'll have to ask him yourself. But yeah, so basically another very important thing that will be taken to inspire a lot of stuff later on is Psy, you know. Psy is written PSI, like having psychic waves, you know, having psychic powers. You know, basically the concept in Akira is that these kids who are more connected to psychic energy, which is always present. It's like a form of chakra, you know, a form of, you know, energy. All of that, ever present in nature. It's like the force, basically. And kids are more able to use it for various purposes. So they get them drugs. They get the kids drugged, and the kids are able to use this energy. And well, there's a friend of the protagonist who actually gets powers, and he discovers actually he isn't drugged, by himself. Like he's so powerful that he actually can manifest powers by himself, but it hurts him a lot, and more than that, it actually deforms his body. And basically, there's much political intrigue on how to use the power of Psy and all of that. And then there's the protagonist whose sole purpose is actually, one, gets a beautiful police girl. Oh, it's not a police girl, I'm joking. She's a rebel. There's rebels who fight against the government using Psy powers and all that. It's a very classical 80s plot, you know. It's more the elements than the narrative. The narrative itself is pretty standard by 80s standards. So yeah, the goals of the protagonist are to fuck the very beautiful rebel girl who's like 10 years older than him, and save his friend, you know. And the movie, I'll not spoil, there's not even much to spoil, you know. The protagonists clash, there's a battle, and the movie ends like that, you know. The protagonist wins against a bad guy who got consumed by power. Very, very classical. What happens in the manga is, at exactly the point in which the movie ends, there's a fucking explosion, which is a nuclear explosion that destroys all of Japan. Like, no, not all of Japan, all of Neo Tokyo, let's say. I don't remember exactly how big the explosion is. But yeah, Akira is actually, he's the title of the series because he is so powerful that, yeah, he's so powerful that he can just make Japan explode, you know? And the other half of Akira that we don't see in the movie, which is actually the more interesting part, is a post-apocalyptic scavenger. It's Mad Max, basically. You know, Mad Max, that's literally it. It's Japanese Mad Max with psychic powers and drugs. And that's so cool. It's very cool. I don't know how much it has to say. Like, honestly, by modern standards, I don't think the narrative of Akira is so good, but yeah. Oh, you have to go. Bye bye. Fair. See you next time. I'm sorry for taking so much of your time by talking about random stuff. But yeah, I think I'll get back to where I was for the last time, and I'll stop there for next stream, you know? I'll get back there. But yeah, I don't know how well Akira actually, you know, how good its messages are, because Blade Runner actually has a lot to say to modern society. Since I'm glad. Thank you for being here. Like Blade Runner, since it's so much more based in the present of the author, it's also present in our time, I think, because much of the problems they had in the 1900s are still here, you know, they are still here, and that's why it talks so much to us. While Akira is more of an idea, you know, a precise idea of the future that even unrelated to us. It talks a bit about politics, some political confrontation. It has a lot of style, which is why cyberpunk is so loved. It has very much style, and the anime is gorgeous. Like, it's very well animated. But oh no. Very well animated. And it inspired a lot of great pieces of media. You know, inspired, I think, Hokuto no Ken. It inspired a whole lot of media, like Genesis Evangelion. I think Berserk a bit, I guess. A lot of stuff. Devilman. No, Devilman. The opposite, actually. What the fuck am I saying? It's Devilman who inspired Akira, not the opposite. Since the end of the world and all of that stuff. That's Devilman. Just opened my door for no reason whatsoever. Very nice. Just want to get back to where I was. Oh me. I love actually talking about manga anime, since I think I know a good deal about it, you know? I'm actually falling. It'd be very funny if I fell, you know? Very funny if I fell. Lowering myself. Let's see, okay. Okay. We're very close. Man, that was very close. Very close. Actually, you can get there. I believe in you. I believe the morning sun. Mother was also inspired by Akira. Should play Mother on there another. Anyway, we got back to where we were, so I think we'll leave for now. See you all. Not tomorrow since I'll be on vacation, but the day after. And see you all there. Bye bye. Oh, actually, let me leave before I fall. I want to fall. Okay. See you all tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, we'll be playing SMT2 again. Continued. And that is also something inspired by Akira. Man. Anyway, bye bye.